Okay, so you probably clicked on this video because you know your house is garbage. Of course, not everyone can be like me. I'm just joking. So I've put together a list of building hacks or tips or whatever you call them, but I call it like my secret cookbook. So yeah, let's just get through this so you can start making less ugly houses, because I can't stand seeing all your all right, so first things first, when you're building a house, you obviously want walls. Now the rule of thumb is you cannot have a wall more than 6 segments long, but you also can't have one that's less than 2. It's actually not a rule of thumb, I just made it up for this video. But yeah, whenever I see a wall that's longer than 6, I mean 7 works too, but like whenever I do see it longer than 6, god, this is sounding really sus. It honestly doesn't look good in the end, because like the the wall is too flat and it has no geometry. And then usually when I see walls that are less than 2, it's like a 1x1 stick out that makes like literally no sense, and it looks completely weird. So for example, if I were to draw up a house really quick, let's just do something really quick. None of these walls are going to be longer than 7. I think. Oh wait, this is, oh, don't listen to me. Okay, never mind. Real quick fix. This is exactly why none of your walls should be longer than 7. See, as you can see, oh wait, did I say longer than 7? I meant longer than 6. As you can see, none of the walls are longer than 6. They reach 6, but nowhere further. And that just keeps every single wall from looking too flat. Now, if you do want to make your walls super long, let's say we extend this just a little more, we can divide it up using pillars or something that just sticks up. I don't know. Usually I just do pillars if I make a wall that's super long. So that way it doesn't look like the wall is just flat and continuous. Oh yeah, and on a side note, just remember to fix the back of your house and don't leave it flat. But yeah, those are 2 tips that I have for building the walls of your house. Now, obviously, after the walls, you probably want to get some stuff on the walls. So let's go straight into windows. The next building tip I have for you kind of involves every single game pass, I would say, for building, because you do have to resize the windows to like different shapes. But basically with this build hack, you can give a lot more personality to your build. I don't even know if you can give personality to your build, but I'm just waffling. I guess you could say it makes your house look more scrumptious, but you can use structurals and windows resized to make it look like your house has a lot more detail on the windows. Obviously, there are windows that cost a lot less, and that's the downside of this, is that the custom windows cost way too much, and at points they do end up looking like prison bars, but that just depends on how you do it. So if you do it properly, and I've never seen anyone do it properly, from my viewers at least. Actually, I've seen a couple. Sometimes I don't even do it properly and it looks like a jail cell, so bear with me for this tutorial. Yeah, so if you do it properly, it won't look like garbage. But I don't think I did it properly. I should have used different sizes. Anyways, that's the thing for windows, at least. Now, once you have your windows, you could also do some interesting stuff with them, like make a canopy thing. So hold on, let me try and get an example for you. You have 2 windows here. You can use a shelf, and this also requires all the game passes. Actually, not all the game passes, just advanced placing. So for many of you, you should be good. But yeah, all you have to do is use a shelf and then resize a basic shape on top of it to make it look like a little canopy over your windows, and that just adds a lot more shape to your windows as well. I don't know, something I normally do. Something you could also try, but I highly don't recommend for like if you just started building, is making a little cutout. Hold on, let me try and explain this the best I can. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this because it takes too much time and effort and probably skill that I don't want to claim that I have, but I'll do it anyways. But you can make a little cutout or stick out bit. I don't know, I don't really know what you call it. Maybe call it window seating, also using basic shapes. And as you can see, this takes a lot of time, and I don't particularly like doing it, but it just adds so much to your build, especially when you have a wall that's super long and you want to divide it up. Like instead of pillars, you could use this or something to split it up. But I think the end result is really worth it. Actually, not really, but like if you want to do it, but make sure you know what you're doing. Like even right now, I don't think I fully know what I'm doing. actually doing this a lot faster than I thought I would be. Okie dokie, and there you have it. Not too hard, but if you just started, I wouldn't recommend. But eventually, as you get better at building, this will elevate your house by tenfold. All right, so now that you finished your windows, you probably want to get some other doors in. So maybe at the back, you want like a large backyard door sliding thing. And that's usually what I do, but instead of using, you know, the normal doors, I mean, sometimes I use the normal doors because these look actually kind of good. Sometimes I use like the clear window frame, and then I resize it to make it look like what do you call it, a sliding door frame. And then once you have the frame, I use basic shapes to make an actual door, which isn't too difficult, but then again, it is very time consuming. And that's what I find with all of these build hacks, is that they're very time consuming, but you know, if you want to get better at building, you gotta adapt. Door frame isn't too hard to build. It's literally just 4 basic shapes placed on top of each other. Okay, actually 5 basic shapes placed on top of each other. You could even add a couple of different designs when you're building it. You could take the crossbar at the bottom and then just place it up, and now you have like a sectioned window at the back. And then to cap it off, you just place another basic shape on top, and then you have like a little door. And then what's great about this is that you can even copy and paste it to wherever you want it to go. So let's say we want like a 4 wide door thing right here. I'm gonna change it up. Give me 2 seconds. I don't really like this design. Hopefully this isn't too hard to follow along, or at least get some stuff out of. If it is, then oh well. Oops. There we go. This door is more fitting for the style of home. Yeah, that's also what's great about it. You can change the style however you want, but that goes for like any type of basic shape thing. So I don't know why I said that. Something else you could also do is rotate these so it looks like the door is open. I don't know. It's something you can't really do with the normal Bloxburg doors. And you could even make it look like it's sliding open like this. See, and this just adds a lot more, what do you call, naturality to your house. It looks like someone's actually lived here. Movement. Something else you could do with doors is, hold on, I need to get some like layout here for an example. Yeah, so the next building tip is called better doors, and obviously we have doors already and you could just rotate them like this, but maybe you don't want that door. Maybe you want a better door. I don't know where I'm going with this. Basically, you can take the same window frame over here and then take the modern panel fence and then put it through the door, and then take another fence gate and then place it on the fence to make like a better door. I don't know how many times I've said better door there, but it's a better door. And whenever you're doing this, just make sure you resize the frame before you actually put everything in, because I just messed up and it's not the right height. Give me 2 seconds. Once you get the right height, you can do it properly, which I am clearly not doing. Yeah, all you gotta do is get the right height first, and then you can resize this to the width of the door. And then, I know it looks kind of scuffed right now, but once you paint everything, and bear with me. Yeah, so like I was saying, if you paint everything, it looks like a real door. You could resize the frame to even cover up the fence poles, so like this, and now it looks really good actually. I gotta use this more often. Anyways, that's the next door hack. Hold on, let me just repaint this so that way you can actually see stuff. Yeah, see? Door. Alright, so while we're still on the topic of making your walls look really pretty, for both outside and inside, I would highly recommend taking advantage of the, what's it called? The wall trim. I don't think there's a single build where I go without using wall trim on all the walls. So that's something you can do. Once again, it just adds a lot more shape to your walls, and it's just like, it just makes them not flat. The last thing you want is a flat wall. I mean, sometimes you want a flat wall. It really depends on the style of house you're really making, so be sure to consider that. I'm waiting for all the comments to just say, bro just casually made a nice looking house in a tutorial, which I'm not gonna make, and this is not looking too good right now. I mean, it kind of is. Whatever, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, once you get all your wall trim in, and sometimes I highly recommend adding a top wall trim to the outside as well, so it looks like it's supporting your roof. So once you have all your wall trim done, the last thing you want to make sure for the exterior is to fix your back. Make sure the back has shape, and now we can move on. Alright, so once you have your doors, windows, walls, everything placed, you probably want to make your roof. And first tip is never to use the auto roof generator. I know sometimes it works, but most of the times it doesn't. Like, look at this. You don't want this roof not covering the rest of your house. So a lot of the times I use a hip roof and gable roof to make my roofs, with the occasional slanted roof if I really need it. So in this case, it looks like we're gonna need it, but using a combination of roofs just helps elevate your build once more. And I do highly recommend experimenting with all your roofs, because there are a bunch of ways that you could make them, like this for example. example, as opposed to using the slanted roof. And as you can see, the wall trim kind of complements the roof when you use a hip roof, especially. So there's that. Another build hack for your roofs is that you could use a second roof inside your gable roofs. And I think this only works for gable roofs, but I'm not too certain. But you can use the resize tools on the side, so you see where my mouse is. You can resize the height and then the length as well, and then you could use it to make a sort of trim. As you can see, hold on, let me just paint this a different color, if I can even paint it a different color. Yeah, so if I make it white, it looks like there's a trim, as you can see, but I'm just gonna leave it gray for now because I'm not gonna get into coloring because I suck at coloring. But yeah, double roofing and using a variety of roofs really help make your build look better. One more thing to remember when doing your roofs: make sure the back looks good, make sure it has some shape and it's not flat. All right, but once you have the main shell of your house done, you could work on some of the exterior elements. I guess you could start with the chimney that might go somewhere, I don't know. Recently I've been using this chimney a lot and I think it looks pretty good, but it is kind of oversized. If please work. It did work. Okay, so yeah, with your chimneys, one thing you want to make sure you're doing correctly is actually connecting it to the ground, because I see a couple of people using chimneys off to the side and they just leave it floating like this, and that is something you definitely don't want to do. So to fix that, all you literally have to do is use a basic shape and resize it upwards until you're at the point where it touches the base of the chimney, and then you just resize it to the side, and then you just color match it, and voila, it literally looks good. I don't know why this house actually looks good. I did not mean for it to actually look good. Oh god. Anyways, that's just a really quick tip for your chimney. Another thing you could do with your homes at the front and even the back actually is use a roof on the basement level to make a little porch or raised concrete section, whatever this is. I don't know what you really call it. You could even do this for the back. Yeah, not really necessary, but like it just adds to your build once again. And then all you have to do is just color this the texture of concrete and you're good. Now that you have a house and a chimney, you want a path that leads up to your house, but especially in Bloxburg, due to the grid size, you can't really do much with your paths, obviously. So this is where yeah, this is where I trigger a couple of you. Basically what you want to do is make a normal path, just one that winds up to the house, because you want some organic shape. And you might think this is good enough, but no, this is not curved enough. So basically what you can do is put a floor inside a floor and make it glitch the heck out. This is probably one of the most cursed build techniques that I've probably ever used. It honestly adds so much more to the build if you do it right. As you can see, I clearly have not done it right, and it doesn't look that good, but you know, whatever. Yeah, so that's the cursed floor technique, or aka the better paths path. Once you have those two done, you probably want to get some gardening out on your house. The thing I normally do is just tell you to place your stuff. Literally just place randomly all of your gardening. I do have somewhat of a pattern to doing this, and I usually just go around placing 2 bushes next to each other, and then a little bush next to each of the corners, and then in the nook and cranny. And then once I have that, I just go around with dirt piles to surround them. And then once that's done, you could add some flowers or whatever. I've been using tulips really often right now, so let's go with some tulips. And this adds some color and also some vegetation to your home. And then finally, you could go in with your trees and just once again go crazy with them. I don't know how to really explain tree placement, but sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. You just really have to play with it, I think. Now, with gardening, you might be asking, what if you use decals for your gardening to make it look more realistic? And what I have to say to that is make sure you know what you're doing. So like the best way to know that you know what you're doing, I don't even know if that makes sense. Take a look at your Bloxburg gardening. If it looks good, then go ahead with your decals, but if it doesn't, don't use decals. Learn to use Bloxburg gardening first, and I think that's a good basis for knowing if you can use decals. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I tried explaining it the best I could. And then once we have all the gardening and exterior elements, the last thing you want to do is make sure you check the back of your house to make sure it has some shape and it doesn't look like trash. Some extra elements you might want to add are like the roof things, so like a pop out like this. These aren't too hard to add, but they do take the what's it called, the second floor game pass to do. Probably not the best idea sometimes, but it does add a lot more shape to your roofs if it is too flat. Alrighty, now that you have basically your entire house done, you just want to go into the interior. And the first tip I have is double flooring. I think double flooring really helps your build as well, especially when you're using linen planks or any types of planks in general. By doubling your floor, it makes it look a lot more detailed for some reason, and that's probably because there are two textures. I really don't know what I'm doing for the interior most of the time, so I can't really give you too many tips on the interior, but exterior is pretty much done. That's all. Those are all the tips I can really give you. But another interior hack is placing your furniture on an angle, or it's not really a hack, it's more of a tip. Basically, when you place your furniture on an angle, it just also adds more of a personality to your build, or the interior at least. I don't know, it just makes your decorations more dynamic. I don't even know what I'm saying, man. Like, all of this is straight up gibberish when I watch it back. But yeah, don't place your furniture straight, because then it looks too uniform. Something you could also do when you have like a bedroom that's too small, but this one's obviously not too small, but let's say you have like a 2x2 wall here and you want to put a double bed in. Something you could do is put two beds next to each other, or practically inside of each other, to make like a little fake double bed is what I call it. Sometimes I do this in my builds and it kind of works, but it also doesn't work. And then finally, if you have a second floor home, which this isn't a second floor home, I'm gonna do one anyways. You could use a stairwell, and this is gonna look so cursed, holy heck. You could use a stairwell. You could take your basic shapes and then resize one all the way down to the first step. Take another basic shape, resize that down to make it flush with the first step, and then you take your rounded basic shape, or your vertical cylinder, you also resize that down, place everything back on top of each other, and now you have an extended stairwell thing. I think I used this in my 12-hour build challenge video, and it looked pretty good in the end, so might as well bring it up here even though there's no second floor. It looks kind of cursed, not really, but then again, I've already got the cursed path, so might as well leave that in. But those are pretty much all of the build hacks and tips that I have for you guys. I honestly have nothing else. This is usually how I go about building houses, so hopefully that helps, and hopefully I don't see more garbage on the street.